A YouTuber named Joe Shoemaker is exploring an abandoned road on Elm Street in Ohio. At the end of this overgrown dirt road is supposed to be a notorious house with a long and haunted history. The road itself is ominously closed, and they have to break the rules just to get there. After driving for a while, their headlights barely manage to illuminate the dark and collapsing exterior of a house that looks more like a creepy old shack rather than a place where any normal person would actually ever live. The front porch is an unpassable pile of broken boards and sharp wooden splinters, so John has to walk around the perimeter to find another way inside. The back entrance is a scratched up wooden door. John isn't even sure if someone still lives here or not, but he turns the rusted knob and stands in the door. The inside is barren and lacks insulation. A long ventilation duct runs completely exposed across the length of the wall. Pipes hang on strings for no reason. He hesitates for a moment and takes a single uneasy step inside. Nothing happens, so he takes another step and makes the mistake of letting down his guard.
Miles over here.
Just when he feels safe, some sort of blue humanoid figure comes from the bottom of the screen and jumps him. I mean, this could just be one of his friends, but here's the thing. When you look closely at the creature that pops out in front of him, you'll see it only has a single misshapen eye. Driving in the Himalayas can be beautiful, unless you're opposite an angry driver. Published by Extreme Out in July of 2016, this driver was descending the dangerous Rotang Pass from Manali to Leh when he crossed paths with a heavy truck moving in the opposite direction. The driver notes that everyone should be patient in such conditions because impatience can lead to lives lost. They didn't find patience in this truck driver though. The man writes that he dipped his lights on the narrow mountain road to indicate that the truck and car ahead should stop and let him pass if they had a wider road. The truck did not signal back, but the car indicated that there was space to cross and so he should move forward. After moving to the side, the car passes easily, but the truck is taking its time, which is understandable as you can see how bumpy the terrain is. However, it became clear that the truck driver apparently wasn't going to pass at all. After sitting for a moment, the uploader starts to reverse to give the truck a wider berth, and instead the truck drives right at him. He raises his hand for the truck driver to stop and then continues to back up on the dangerous road, which he notes is not easy. Again, instead of passing, the truck is directed at him. The game continues for a time until finally the truck passes. They stopped him to argue, wondering why he acted the way he did. Was it a threat out of spite, or did he really not have room to pass? From this angle, we will never know. Adrian is eating dinner at home when a creepy hand with long slender fingers reaches up to his window. The video stops right before the creature pulls the curtain to reveal itself to the unsuspecting family. Before the monster reaches its hand out, you can kind of see that its silhouette is about the size of a normal person. So while this TikTok video is creepy, I doubt it's real. A paranormal researcher named Eduardo Haunter is exploring an abandoned hospital in the northern part of Mexico City. He gets pretty far and eventually sets up a camera in an old examination room, hoping to record some scary things on video. At 3 a.m. things get pretty weird. An old chair groans under the weight of an apparent ghost doctor sitting down. I don't think this was done with a string either. The top half of the chair moves while the wheels remain stationary. Or perhaps Eduardo simply put the wheels in a locked position first. I'm not sure what to believe. There's arguments for both explanations, so take one last look and help me decide. Russian YouTuber Eugene from Dark Mystic captured something in his home. Let's take a look. First, it shows up in the darkened window behind him.
У них начались какие-то шорохи, шумы, падения. И самое главное, что мне больше всего понравилось в этом письме, то, что они говорят, мы стояли ошарашенные и поднимается не с того, что предмет. Я не помню, какой он там в описании предмет. Вопрос, говорит, поднимается воздух.
Did you see the figure moving in the window? Then, while inside, he hears something.
Опа! Это что такое?
Nobody answers. Later, as he's capturing video under a crawl space, another disturbance is heard.
Ой! Откуда взялась-то?
Then, in the shed, he sees two glowing eyes.
Так, попробуем запечатлеть. Ой. Ребята, какие глаза. Я так и не вижу. Посмотрите, глаза какие-то. Пошел-ка я за фонариком, сейчас посмотрим.
The eyes disappear. Do they belong to whatever phantom is causing such mayhem in his home? Or was all that racket caused by a cat or other animal? But then again, what about the figure in the window? I think Eugene should look into this further to find out what exactly he's dealing with. Sound in the absence of sight can be seriously alarming. This video shows just how frightening it can feel to hear something you cannot see. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Camilla Rose 529. The Redditor explains that she and a friend were cleaning a house when they heard this incredible mayhem outside.
Yeah. What was that? It's freaking me out.
They went out to see what was causing all the ruckus. The sound fills up all airspace outside. Though garbled, it sounds a bit like a jet flying overhead. A moment later, however, this terrifying roar blows your eardrums out. Maybe not a jet, perhaps a literal monster.
Yeah. What was that? It's freaking me out.
Camilla writes, "We called the police and they were unable to give us any information about what was going on around us and never went back to that house again." Redditor Paranormal Psychic notes in the comments, there have been multiple eerie sounds coming seemingly from either the woods or the sky itself, usually music, horns, or even screaming. First time I've ever heard growling. Is this a growl? If not, what is it? It certainly doesn't sound human. A man and a woman are enjoying a private plane ride when suddenly their pilot slumps over and becomes unresponsive. Watch the trees and you'll see the plane is really sideways and they are really freaking out. It looks like she is going to take off her safety belt and jump when the pilot springs back to life and everyone starts laughing. Everyone but her. Do you think this joke went too far? I think there's a certain line between tasteful and terrifying that they may have crossed. And any prank where you fly with your eyes closed probably isn't the best idea. A lady in a car confronts this group after she believed they were making rude comments about her daughter. The group of boys try to argue that she is mistaken and they have done nothing wrong. The woman seems not to believe them, and that's where things get heated.
Follow us home. And
I'm just trying to look to where you live.
Why?
Why? You live.
You're not coming to my house.
I want to talk to your parents.
You're not coming to my house.
Are you going to cry?
You're not coming to my house.
She parks her car in the road and comes right up to the group. They begin to argue back and forth and nothing gets resolved. The police were eventually called and that's where the video ends. It remains unclear if the boys had done anything wrong or if the woman was acting like this for no reason. Crazy George's Bridge is the name of a legendarily haunted location in Tennessee. This bridge overlooks the very same tracks that a man named George once wandered onto and met a terrible fate. Now George's angry ghost chases away anyone who says his name 3 times. Strange magic rituals are also said to be practiced out in the woods to honor his name, and so paranormal activity has become a regular occurrence over the years. Tonight, a brave YouTuber named Mads Entertainment is ready to settle the legend of Crazy George once and for all, and so he goes on a paranormal exploration of the bridge at night from the top to bottom.
Crazy George. Crazy George. Crazy George.
The sound of an approaching engine turns out to be nothing more than oncoming traffic. They refuse to give up the ghost hunt and try to address the paranormal directly by speaking into the night sky.
If anyone's here, you can come speak into my camera.
They are positive that these sound like the noises of a little ghost girl screaming in the woods, possibly a manifestation of black magic rituals in the past. I'm not so sure because I think it could be an animal. Here's the sound again. Let me know what you think this scary voice in the darkness belongs to. When unexplained shadows fall, your only recourse is to search for an answer. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Sammy Sam 1870 writes, "It was 2:06 a.m. and there was no one walking around, nor were there any cars in sight when this mysterious shadow strolled across my security camera. The following day, I tried to figure out where it could have came from, but found no explanation. The security camera footage shows a black shadow cast upon the ground, moving across the screen. As the Redditor explains, nothing visible in the area is casting the shadow. So do we have a shadow figure on our hands, or is this just a bug caught at a weird angle?" A TikToker named Heck Aiden is dancing in her room with the door closed when it somehow pushes open by itself and no one steps in. Like I said, the door looks fully closed and there's no visible gaps in the doorway to indicate that it was partially left open as part of a skit. The doorknob doesn't seem to turn either, so as far as I'm concerned, there should be no way for it to open like that. Heck Aiden tries to play it off and finishes her video, but the more she reflects on it, the more she seems convinced that this was a ghost after all. An urban exploration channel called JJ Retro is exploring an abandoned house on the edge of an English village late at night. You can tell he's nervous just standing at the entrance of this creepy estate.
It's time to come exploring somewhere like this because we're in the middle of nowhere, on the outskirts of Slinfold, at this rather creepy house, and there's a sort of haunted feel to it.
Outside, they find a spooky tree with a rope slung over the branch and a plank of wood to step off of. I don't think we need to spend much time explaining what kind of scary events happened here, and when they start exploring the inside, every room fills them with a renewed sense of dread.
Yeah, this is creepy. This is probably the creepiest building we've done so far in our urban exploring career. Ooh.
They try to joke their way out of how scary this urban exploration is, but eventually they have to admit they are getting spooked by something paranormal in the house with them. Weird noises are coming from upstairs, or so they say, but to be honest, I don't hear anything.
Okay, what the f***'s that noise? It's coming from upstairs.
But as they slowly creep up the stairs, I can actually hear the weird sound, and that's when they get it. The creepy encounter caught on camera that they were all looking for.
No, this man. No.
Hello?
And that's when, with all of them on the steps mind you, the urban explorers see a rocking chair moving on its own.
Come on. And that was the haunted house here in Slinfold, and we're
Since part of the chair is hidden by the doorway, maybe somebody was off camera making the chair move. Otherwise, this place is definitely haunted. Thomas Hayes has been hearing scary loud sounds lately. Strange scratching noises coming from inside of the wall, right next to where he sleeps at night. Anxiety mixes with fear as he dismantles the electric socket to investigate what's gone wrong behind the walls. And let me tell you, the source of the scary sounds is beyond creepy. He tries not to scream as he finds the wall is filled with an endless number of fried insects. roaches to be exact. And look, at 30 seconds he absentmindedly flicks one off with his finger. That's not exactly the reaction I was expecting, and certainly not what I would have done, but I guess he was shocked at the time. Speaking of, I can't help but wonder how safe it is to prod around an electrical socket with a screwdriver in the first place. I know he probably turned the power off, but I feel like it could still hold a charge. Someone tell me in the comments. A YouTuber named Bay State Hockey watches nervously as a tornado takes shape one field over.
Crap, it's right there. It's right there.
There it is. Oh my dad.
That's only a couple hundred feet away, Dad. Floor it.
Just when it looks like they've outrun the first tornado, they see more problems ahead.
There's two.
There's like 3.
There's 3 of them.
The only thing that saves them is the fact that the road just so happens to turn in the exact opposite direction as the tornadoes are forming. The YouTuber escapes alive, but I doubt this Florida family will ever forget the time they were wedged between 3 twisters and almost didn't make it. Sometimes evil energy sticks around a place long after bad things have happened there. This is one of those cases. YouTuber Brittany Crab posted this video in June of 2014 writing, exploring a scary haunted bridge that is haunted by a boy named Douglas riding a bike and a creepy man. So scary. Brittany says in the video that she's in the woods near her house, looking for an old bridge near which a young boy had his life taken. According to Brittany, the boy was riding his bike and the man was standing near the bridge and offered him candy, but when the boy approached, the man took his life and shoved him in the pond beneath the bridge. People who visit this bridge feel a bad energy there, and they believe it's haunted by the boy Douglas. According to legend, you can hear the bicycle bell as he crosses the bridge. When she finally arrives at the bridge, she stands in the middle, feeling the creepy vibes everyone talks about, and as she's standing there, disturbed, the bicycle bell sounds, fleeing the scene.
I think I just heard the bike.
She claims she just saw the man, and somehow she gets lost. She returns to the bridge, but the bicycle bell rings again, causing her to drop her camera. Someone picks up the camera in the end, but who? And apparently this bridge and the story really do exist. Several in the comments mention knowing hearing the story. One YouTuber, Golden M, writes, I heard about that bridge and my cousin lives close by it in the woods, and she went to explore it and she said she heard the bike and she also saw the man and kid. Would you dare visit this bridge? I certainly wouldn't. Are you heading out to a seaside restaurant tonight? You might want to reconsider. Published to YouTube by Ed Hadd in March of 2014. They wrote, Jill Freeland, the artist and videographer, was having breakfast this morning at Moby Dick's with her family and got a little more sea salt than was on the menu. The footage shows the restaurant overlooking a stormy gray sea. While the customers await their meal, they helplessly watch as the waves take on a life of their own. They probably think they're safe inside, but boy are they wrong.
Time to go.
The water crashes against the window and glass shatters as the spectators scream. Someone calmly says, time to go, and the customers are told to leave the restaurant, which they do without argument. It appears that no one was hurt in the incident, but they certainly saw firsthand how indifferent Mother Nature is to brunch. This footage comes to us from Holland. A group of friends are exploring a park and decide to visit some watchtowers from World War II. The towers are closed for vandalism and it looks like their trip is over. Little did they know they were about to see something much more interesting than a cluster of abandoned towers could ever be.
Ja man. Die kerel, dat is echt een wilde zwijn hoor. Kijk dan. What the fuck is dat? Hey! Kerel, hey!
A large black figure is observing their movements from somewhere in the distance. It looks like it is trying to hide behind a tree, which shows that it has some level of intelligence, but it does a poor job and gets spotted immediately. They began shouting for the humanoid to come out. Suddenly, a series of banging noises fills the forest and sends them running. When one of them enhances the camera footage, this is what they find glaring at them. Then again, I guess it's hard to glare at someone when you have no face. Whatever this humanoid was doing, it looked like it was up to trouble. The group might have been easily attacked if they didn't try to scare it off. Onasio Rojas uses Facebook Live to record himself doing 115 miles per hour on the highway in Providence, Rhode Island, blasting loud music the entire time. He thinks nothing of swerving in and out of traffic, cutting off cars over and over again while going breakneck speeds. His high-speed escapade only lasts about 2 minutes before he cuts into the shoulder and fails to pull off a quick 2-lane change. What you don't see in the final moments of this video is the garbage truck slamming into him from behind, sending Onasi into the concrete barrier and then into a dead stop in the middle of the road. He survived and was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest, followed by 6 months of probation. Based on this video, tell me if you think he has received a fair sentence. This scary video captured an inhuman humanoid figure lurking over a human habitat, and it has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Taken in someone's backyard, you first see a pool with trees beyond. It looks as though the cameraman is searching for something in the foliage. He then turns to the roof of the home. The roof at first seems to be empty, but when the cameraman turns completely to the right, this terrifying figure is spotted. Its fleshy skin is a raw sunburnt pink, its limbs are somewhat elongated, its shoulders are hunchbacked, and its pinhead is on a neck that's uncannily long. The creepiest part of it is that the figure is looking right at him. It stays still for a second, its eyes glowing as it watches the unsuspecting cameraman, before leaping with cat-like reflexes over the other side of the roof and out of sight. If this footage is real, then I have no idea what this thing possibly was. A YouTube series called The Undervlogs follows Rachel, Kiva, Tyler, and Derek on their various adventures. This time, they're split up on a competitive scavenger hunt, checklist and all, in a creepy 1908 children's hospital that's been abandoned since 1998. Tyler and Derek are goofing around, but things become tense when they notice a creepy clown head with dripping red eyes that could be a warning of what's about to come their way. They sense something wrong and run away, and that's when, approximately 10 seconds later, this shadowy figure looks out at them, roughly the same height as the clown graffiti in the doorway, so I'm glad they followed their instincts and left fast. This footage comes from Vietnam, where all sorts of strange creatures are rumored to still roam free through the wild and unconquered forests. This stuffed humanoid in particular has been deceased for quite some time, possibly for decades, and now looks discolored and slowly falling apart. It appears to be half man, half snake. Long blonde hair grows from its human-like head, which is furry all over yet also covered in straw blonde facial hair. 2 rodent-like arms stick out from its fur-covered upper body. Its face looks like a cross between a man and an ape. The nose looks like it belongs to a primate, but the gray lifeless eyes and smirking mouth look like they could belong to a person. Its scaly lower half looks exactly like a snake's. Watching this thing in action must have been a terrible and shocking sight. How such a creature could come to be is unexplainable, yet here it is. Perhaps there are even more of them out in the wild. A man is deep in the forest of Malaysia, looking for supernatural forces that he should probably best leave alone. All he has with him is a flashlight and a camera when he's caught in the presence of something paranormal.
Subhanallah, 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 subhanallah.
He records in the direction he feels the most watched and captures this freaky face between the trees. Once spotted, things go even more wrong in a scary way.
Aku nak sangat berjumpa dengan kau. Apa hal Ampui? Apa hal Ampui?
When his light comes back on, the face is even closer. A still image taken at 2 minutes and 42 seconds shows what I'm talking about. The upper half of a scary man who I think could be of the spirit realm. When YouTuber Exploration Unknown visited a haunted house built on cursed land, he heard a female ghost speak. Let's hear what she has to say.
Now, to the young lady, can you tell me your name?
Now look in the right hand window of the door. It looks like someone is standing there and then moves to the side.
Now, to the young lady, can you tell me your name?
The spirit repeats her name many times. Abigail wants to be free.
Say Annie. Free me.
When he asks what happened to Abby, he gets a response.
Annie, what happened to you?
To me, it sounds like she passed away during some sort of battle. I'm sure she has a reason to stick around here after, but it probably wasn't to be paranormally investigated. An abandoned home with a tragic past turned into ritual grounds for secret groups? Sounds like a recipe for disaster. Published to YouTube by Steve Ronan in September of 2020. This paranormal investigation looks inside the devil's home, as it's so called. According to Ronan, this millionaire's mansion was built in the 90s, but the family who was to live here passed away before it was finished. First off, although it's an abandoned mansion, the power is still on. While wandering the house, they hear disembodied voices, but it's this pentagram in one of the rooms that gives them pause.
Is that a REM pod? Yep.
They place an REM pod in the middle and it goes wild. Is something nefarious at home here? It certainly seems so. A man claims that he keeps experiencing paranormal activity in his dining room and nowhere else. He feels unsafe and decides to leave a camera running in the dining room to see what goes on when he's not around. Nothing happens for a while, but then something comes along in the window that looks questionable. This is the zoomed in version. A tiny face appears to peek out at them from the glass panel on the bottom right before darting out of sight. You can't really make out any of its features, but notice how some orbs float by shortly before this happens. It's hard to tell if it's a paranormal creature or just a small animal, but I wouldn't want to be left alone in the house to find out. A TikTok video gets really creepy when some scary moments are caught on tape. A ghost opens the door, or at least that's what this scary TikTok moment was, according to Shimei57, who is sitting on the floor of her apartment when someone enters unannounced. I don't hear any footsteps after the door opens, no bags getting put down, so maybe it was a ghost after all, but the scariest moment of all is yet to come. The laughter of a little ghost girl seems like it's coming from up close, and the creepy TikTok video abruptly ends. Either something paranormal has entered her house, or this video was edited to make it appear to be haunted. I think this video could be paranormal, but more evidence is needed to help me make a final decision. The Malaysian district of Sabak Bernam recently had an odd occurrence take over the entire village in November of 2020. That's when residents began to hear this sound. Phantom knocking at odd hours day and night. It's kind of hard to see through the glass, but let me put it to you this way. If I can tell there is a white car parked out front, then I definitely should be able to see the outline of whoever is pounding hard enough to rattle this door. And yet, nothing's there. This video and others like it remain unexplained. If a whole village were faking this, then surely at least one person would have accidentally confessed by now. Months later, nobody has. Based on this paranormal evidence, I'd say something actually appears to be haunting this village. A popular YouTuber named Max Mirai is making a normal vlog when it becomes an accidental ghost hunting video instead.
Hi. ファミレスでピンポンじゃないんだぞ。はい、もうでも本当に
Caught on camera in the corner watching them all is the sighting of a ghost in a dress. When they see what they've caught on tape, they rush back to the same place for a second look. What they find has left their minds as haunted as the place itself. As they flee, one of the spirits has no problem keeping up, but it disappears before it reaches them, only to reappear again when they least expect. There's almost no way that this Japanese ghost hunting video really happened, because it would have made international news. Or maybe this ghost video is just now starting to gain attention online. This old VHS tape from 1999 could have captured a ghost, but I need your help to tell if it's true.
If you look to the right of the two tombstones, you can clearly see a figure standing there dressed in white.
I definitely see the ghost in question, especially when you zoom in. There's actually a surprising amount of detail, and I can even make out the buttons on their shirt and possibly a long musket. At the same time, I have some other possible explanations as to what this could be. This could be the open space between two trees, in which case the vivid details are nothing more than a random arrangement of branches. This could also be a cemetery statue from afar. This was taken way before high definition, so it's hard to tell for certain, but I'd still like to get your thoughts. This footage was taken in 2011. A man is wandering the woods in Pennsylvania when his flashlight chances upon one of the most popular humanoids of all time. The Sasquatch is devoid of pigment and doesn't put up much of a fight, instead taking off as soon as the flashlight beam hits its face. Notice not only how fast it runs, but also how silently it moves. Somehow it was able to watch the cameraman from less than 10 feet away and get away with hardly any noise. Urban explorer Steve Ronan is exploring a town by a lake that was opened in the 1950s and had a very dark history. They had an entire arena where dogs were forced to do horrible things and had multiple passings in the town under strange circumstances. It has since been abandoned and is now considered a ghost town with paranormal energy. Steve explores the area with some locals who show him around. While the entire exploration has some seriously creepy vibes, there's two parts in particular that are especially frightening. At 12 minutes and 20 seconds, Steve says he caught a demon on camera. Do you see it here?
Right here.
Yeah.
There's
And again at 31 minutes and 20 seconds, Steve says more paranormal activity is caught on tape here.
Same with this. Even this mirror over here. You can see the reflection of the door and my flashlight, but you can't even see me.
Overall, I would stay far away from that ghost town. This Snapchat video was taken at a school in Esterville, Iowa. You can see a deer standing outside looking very confused before it suddenly tries to get in without warning.
Watch out!
Clearly, the zombie deer wants to get inside however it can, searching around the sides of the glass for an opening, before giving up and resuming its confused vegetative state. Those inside are lucky that this deer is too small to break the glass. If this was a full-grown deer running at them, things could have been much different. Hopefully, they contacted animal control and thoroughly disinfected this door before letting anyone touch it. If you plan to ghost hunt in a haunted forest, prepare to meet your doom. YouTuber Kelsey Davies and her crew encountered several paranormal events in their forest ghost hunt. First, she hears a woman's voice.
I just heard a woman humming.
That sounds more like a shout than a hum to me. Apparently Kelsey saw her too.
She was crouched down by the creek, humming, with no shoes on.
As they approach the creek in question, Susie feels like she was pushed.
You guys don't push me. I didn't. What?
Someone pushed you?
Stop.
So where's the I swear.
Don't push me. It was him.
He's staying right here.
Did someone push Susie?
Push you?
Don't push me.
When asked if somebody tried to push Susie into the water, the spirits have an answer for Kelsey.
I heard yes, and then it said we are coming. We are.
Are you guys coming?
While they continue to speak through the spirit box, one of them hears the name Susie.
Why?
I heard Susie. I swear
Oh my
I heard
really?
Susie.
Oh, is it? Yep. Jesus.
It seems this spirit is out to get Susie.
Right behind you. Whoever. I can't even speak right now.
Oh, that's it. I'm here.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm
It
here.
literally said I'm here.
That's it. I'm...
The spirits repeat their intentions.
What?
That was we're all coming.
That,
That literally said we're all coming.
That was not like a regular voice. That was like a demonic voice.
That was really bad.
And their thirst for Susie doesn't end there.
Oh my.
That's a
Susie.
Yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah. I heard that's my second time.
Why do they want me so bad?
I think this is a valid question. Why are the spirits coming after Susie? And did the ghost woman by the creek try and push Susie into the water? If I were her, I'd take this as a sign to get the heck out of there. Mangurdas Tremonis is exploring the bottom of a local lake when he spots a round object that doesn't match the rest of the scenery. After some resistance, he plucks free a crustacean covered cranium that's clearly once belonged to a human. It must have been down there for quite a while, because now large aquatic life appears to be growing all over the surface and slowly breaking the organic matter down. Either this is the real thing, or else it's a very good looking prop. Let me know which one you think it is. Esmeralda Vega is recording her family opening presents on Christmas, but one toy in particular keeps interrupting what should have been a happy family moment.
That shit moved again. I'm throwing it across the.
Maybe someone is controlling this toy from another room, or maybe it's motion activated, but based on their surprised reactions, I don't think anyone is moving this toy on purpose. If anything, the toy seems to move on its own as soon as the camera person mentions it, almost like it has a mind of its own. If anybody recognizes this toy, please let me know what it's called and if it's remote controlled or not. Maybe together we can verify if this video is real or not. When this small plane's propeller stopped moving, it was forced to emergency land. We're now experiencing engine failure, says the man videotaping the event. If there's a place to land, we shall be okay. He speaks rather calmly considering their propeller froze mid-air. The sky around the hilly region appears murky, and there's clearly some strong wind tearing at the aircraft. Find a flat ground so that rescue vehicles can come in, the man says. He places all responsibility on the pilot, telling him it all relies on your experience now. The pair find a piece of land in the water to force landing upon, and again he emphasizes how they're all relying on the captain. The plane quickly descends and hits the ground with a thud. They strike a rock, but the pair lives. When they rather calmly land, the man videoing the incident thanks the captain for saving his life. The captain says he told someone this plane wasn't good to go. Shand Ali Jat is a ghost hunting fashion model with a YouTube channel based out of Pakistan. Look what happens moments after he is caught on camera getting chills. A low-flying bat distracts them long enough to turn their back to a boarded-up window. Something bangs on this barricade from the other side. They stand in the center of the room more than an arm's length away from everything in sight. The ghost always seems to wait until their back is turned before it throws open a door or a window. They put a scroll in front of the fireplace, and the evil spirit sets the parchment on fire out of disapproval. The way it goes out is just as unnatural as the way it begins. None of them did anything to cause this that I can see. It's as if it spontaneously combusted. As they examine the door, this YouTuber is thrown into the wall by a paranormal force. It doesn't look like he jumped into the wall either. His head is up and his arms are down as if he's being held by the neck as he lays gasping on the ground. One of their cameras captures the fireplace silently roaring back to life, like it's feeding off of their fear. Meanwhile, this final ghost sighting is caught on tape in the far corner of the room. It might be edited, but based on all of the other creepy paranormal evidence, I wouldn't be surprised if it was real. Leaked aerial footage was taken in late 2006. A formation of Italian fighter jets returned to base after conducting some training exercises when one of them, the one shown here, notices a thick black cloud fast approaching and only has moments to react.
Come? Oh, sta passando da pane in mezzo a noi.
He performs an emergency maneuver and barely avoids a commercial airliner full of civilian passengers at the last possible second. Thankfully, his training kicked in because the much larger jetliner could not have changed its course. Look again and you'll see they come close enough to almost clip wings. If they had collided, no one would have survived. When you're driving home exhausted at the end of the long day, stay conscious and keep your eyes peeled. You might just see this. This supernatural clip was posted in April of 2020. Claiming it's a real sighting on a haunted roadside. So let's take a look and see for ourselves. The clip shows someone driving down a dirt road in the near darkness. As they turn a corner, a dark figure barely visible can be seen crossing the path. On closer inspection, the figure looks long-limbed and big-eyed with a strangely shaped skull. It crosses slowly before sitting down at the side of the road. If human, what is this strange behavior? If not, any theories as to what this creature might be? Whether paranormal or some earthly figure running into this near dusk might be enough to end your life. Redditor Everyone is Human shared the following video to Reddit with a short read-up that says, "My sister-in-law's Ring camera captured this tonight. I have never been a believer, but I am struggling to dismiss this. Please weigh in on it." So let's have a look and see if we can help the uploader in figuring out what was filmed on the camera that night. So I need you to focus your attention. So if we're looking at the center beam here, about dead center on the center beam, and then to the left, about halfway in between this center beam and this beam here. And you just see that thing just move. All right, now it's between these two beams, just huffing it down the sidewalk. Still on camera here. But it looks like whatever this is, it almost looks like the ghost of somebody out for an evening jog, as it starts on the left side of the sidewalk here and just continues down the sidewalk for the entire video. Whatever it is almost appears kind of translucent as well. You'd think if it was just a person, like an actual person out for a jog, it would be a lot more visible on camera. It would just look like a, you know, just a regular person on camera. This almost looks not only translucent, but it's kind of floating in the air. I can definitely see why this uploader, who is usually a skeptic when it comes to this sort of thing, is having a hard time coming up with a logical explanation of what exactly happened on the security footage. It certainly looks to be some sort of ghostly figure out for an evening stroll, but one can only hope that's not the case. Some viewers suggest that it could actually just be the camera that's making an ordinary person look like a ghost. Is this actually a ghost walking around in clear view, or is this just a camera trick on a regular person? I'll let you decide. Something's cooking in this kitchen. Published by Sasha 180683 in December of 2012. A poltergeist is startling this haunted resident. As the resident enters, a curtain that's hung in front of a washer and dryer keeps fluttering. Then a cupboard pushes open on its own, one of its doors thudding against the stove. The door swings closed and open, moving uncannily. The curtain again moves strangely around, and then back to the cupboard door. The cameraman slowly backs out of the room and then moves forward again, getting a closer look at the cupboard door and the curtain. No strings and the window isn't open. He shows the camera that it's 2 a.m. After closing the cupboard again, the door swings open, and the curtain plays around a bit more. What invisible energy powers this kitchen? A poltergeist would be my guess. A YouTuber named Ghost Chic believes she has a problem in her home of the paranormal variety. One day her dog just starts patrolling the living room, as if on guard, even though there is nothing out of the ordinary and no strange noises. I'm wondering if it is annoyed by something on television, or at something we can't see standing there.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Whatever it is, he seems satisfied that it's gone for now, but then he tries to track it. Meanwhile, notice how the smaller dog doesn't seem to care at all.
Is everything okay?
It's definitely weird, although maybe it could have just been a bug or something, but still, that doesn't explain how on a different day, both of her dogs get up to see who's at the door. The door opens and I think I might see a shadow pass through, though it could be the outside light. As soon as she's coming in to see what's wrong, the barely discernible orb passes overhead, unseen to her at the time but caught on camera nonetheless. And when she later goes ghost hunting using a Kinect in the same room, she detects a spirit by the window.
I want to pan so you can see that there's no one else over there with her. No one's on my curtain.
Then something eerie happens. So is this a paranormal encounter? Or is this person waving their hand at 38 seconds, also moving it with their hand during this part? I'll let you decide. An abandoned mansion in Houston, Texas appears as the epicenter of paranormal activity in this clip, posted to YouTube by Hugo Blog in August of 2016. The shell of a mansion looks creepy enough on the outside, but then they enter. Wandering around the house in the darkness, at some point, the group captures on video what appears to be a ghostly young girl. They apparently didn't see her in real time, as they don't race from the house or cry out in fear. This image was only discovered after playing back the footage. Would you have the guts to enter here? Cross the threshold and find out. Two scientists poke and prod at the body of a short, round-bellied humanoid with sharp features and a wide frown. They seem to follow a number of scientific procedures and pull out internal organs one at a time, weighing them on what I think is an old scale. The full video of this procedure is not for the squeamish. Everything looks very clinical, so I think this video has a good chance of being real. Cookstown is considered one of the scariest and most haunted places in Ontario, and weird things like this creepy unexplained photograph is one of the many reasons why. On July 30th, 2015, a paranormal investigator took a picture of a store named The Workshop that I think needs a closer look. Take a look at this photo and tell me if you see anything weird. If not, things are about to get creepy for you. Here's a close-up of the same picture to help you see it better. A giant frowning face takes up the top right window of the building. Tell me if you think this is paranormal or a coincidence. It would have been interesting to return the next day and see if the face was still there, but considering this happened years ago, I guess we will never get that opportunity. I reached out to this channel for more info, and they now think it was shadows cast from a warped wooden frame. I'll take their word for it, but I'm not sure how warped wood would cause this extra eerie face to appear. I guess sometimes the explanation to an unsolved thing can be quite bizarre. Turnshaw Special School in Kirkburton was destroyed by a massive fire in July of 2009. Many residents phoned the fire department after noticing flames coming from the building. Hurd and his crew of 50 firefighters were dispatched to the area around 6 p.m. The size of the fire was enormous and required a lot of manpower. The crew managed to control the fire enough to save one of the buildings, but it took all night and 5 jets to take down the flames. Residents were told to stay indoors while the fire department did its job. The fumes were thick, and some residents claimed that the firefighters were warning residents about asbestos. Huddersfield Fire Station crew manager Mark Hurd stated that these were indicators that the fire was started on purpose. It's unclear where the investigation into the matter led, but this was certainly one extremely large fire. Myrtle Sorosa is a popular model and actress from the Philippines who witnessed something unexplainable while on tour. In eastern Samar, she and her crew are navigating unlit back roads when they spot this small phantom-like figure in the street. In Myrtle's words, the white blob caught by the dash cam does not match what they saw in person. She says what they saw looked more like a child who was around 10 years old with a pale face and a bluish-white shirt. They wanted to double back and save the helpless child, but their tour guide said that this road is famous for child ghost sightings, and that it was best to get out of there quickly. I guess this could all be just a publicity stunt, but since eastern Samar once had a bad typhoon that claimed the lives of many children, I think that she is probably telling the truth. Yes, poltergeists can be powerful, but this one is like its own microburst. Published by Find Ghost in August of 2021, this haunting footage was originally captured on a security camera in April of 2009, just after midnight. The footage shows an empty room with chairs stacked along one side. One chair is overturned in the middle of the room like it was flung there, and after seeing what happens next, perhaps it was, an object falls off a table, one of the stacked chairs wobbles back and forth, then all of a sudden all the chairs burst, as if flung forward simultaneously. A moment later, another invisible burst in the room sends all the objects flying momentarily into the air. In the last split second, everything flies sky high again. What is happening in this haunted room, and what will happen next? A YouTuber named D-Edge detects strange activity in his hallway after leaving his PS4 camera on record. This small figure appears no less than 2 times, despite the apartment being empty, at least according to the uploader. 20 seconds later, the figure makes its second entrance, hanging around the top of the doorway each time before disappearing into the darkness. I was thinking that maybe this was light coming from the window across the room, but the angle doesn't exactly match up. Something is definitely there, but let me know what you think it could be. According to local legend, a woman's body was found in this cave, and YouTuber Ricky Velasquez is digging deep to find her spirit. The front entrance has been covered up.
Algunas, no sé cómo llamarlo.
But there's a secret passage, and Ricky finds it. Inside, he discovers a person's belongings, including what looks like a bed. Down one dark passage, sparkling lights are captured.
Tu ánima, o demonio que habita este lugar, yo te evoco. Pero si hay algo que pueda hacer por ti, me lo puedes hacer saber. ¿Cuál es tu nombre?
At first, I thought it was a paranormal device, but later you see it's the distant city lights. Beyond the ambient traffic noise, you can hear an echoing voice sob from afar. It sounds like it's coming from the belly of the cave.
Es raro, pero bueno, me gusta este lugar. Tal vez no haya mucha actividad, pero actividad nula, pero este lugar cargadísimo, 100% recomendado si quieres vivir.
Then, as Ricky is talking, he hears this sound.
Y poder apoyar, poder ayudar. Se imaginen, todos tenemos hermanas, todos tenemos madre, abuela, tías. Que esto no es algo que uno se lo desea a nadie.
Here it is again with the volume enhanced. In another moment, he hears a voice again. Is Ricky in the presence of the woman's spirit? I think so. I feel a certain energy here, even through the screen. A woman leaves her car unlocked and loses some personal items, including a set of keys. A short time later, a man who she has never seen before comes to her front door and attempts to gain entry with her missing keys. Fortunately, none of the keys were the house key, and he quickly hurries off with nothing. This just goes to show how easily one incident can lead to another. If you ever experience anything like this, don't underestimate the persistence of those doing it. Sometimes the more clever ones will track you back to your house and try to do the same thing a second time. The Haunted Side is a ghost hunting channel in Reno, Nevada, led by Patrick McCreary, a paranormal investigator who has been experiencing ghost sightings since the age of 9, and he likes exploring abandoned places where something has gone wrong in the past. Tonight, he and his fellow ghost hunter, Jason Spencer, will explore the Truckee House, a creepy and cursed place haunted by the spirits of a mother, father, and 3 children ever since they were slain by a random madman sometime in the 1940s. Within minutes, the Haunted Side detects supernatural activity on their equipment. The paranormal energy is so strong that the ghost family can finish his sentence.
We don't mean you any harm. If somebody came in here and hurt my throat, you hear that?
Yeah.
A weak and weary ghost voice must belong to the father. His EVP responses always make sense, like here when they ask him to read some graffiti on the wall.
What does that say? Can you tell us what that says?
That was creepy.
On the top floor is a small rotten room that is mostly withered away from the elements. The scary disembodied voice of the father follows, hopeless as ever as it advises them not to walk across the weak floor.
Be very careful.
Is this safe for me to do this? No.
They walk around the perimeter of the house instead for more paranormal evidence, and sure enough, the 2 explorers hear more possible ghost noises.
Did you hear that?
The ghost hunter is understandably a little too creeped out to talk.
A young sounding, like almost cry. Like, but like young.
But in other words, it's a little ghost girl crying from the nearby haunted woods.
Did you hear that?
A few minutes later, they record this ghost sighting on video as the hand of a child pulls away from them at the last moment, a hand that's reaching out from the basement window. Although this could be the tail of a rat as it scurries away. With that said, some people claim to see a scary face looking not too far from where the ghost hand was sighted. I think I see it, but then again it kind of looks like a rock in the grass, so who knows? The exploration continues inside. Their paranormal tracking equipment is able to pick out the wireframe of Jason, which proves it works, and then it detects a second mysterious figure pressed up against a support column, like it's hiding from them. Soon the scary moment goes from a ghost sighting to actual paranormal contact.
The part right now is this floor.
Yeah,
you can see into the basement.
Are you down in the basement?
Both ghost sightings cease when Jason can no longer take the cold and has to walk away. The question is whether or not this was a friendly gesture or a more serious encounter, maybe even an attempt at demonic possession. Imagine being alone in your house when a toy starts speaking over and over again, like someone is rapidly pressing its button. That's exactly what happened one day to a YouTuber named Melinda Wolf Miller with her child's Mickey Mouse toy. She bravely took out her phone and started recording. The toy makes some low noises at first, but once she says something about it, it apparently becomes very aggressive and starts growling in response.
Something is in the toy box is possessed.
It almost sounds like the toy is saying somebody in between snarling. I don't think that the two toys on top of Mickey Mouse are heavy enough to activate the bottom, so I'm honestly not sure what's happening here. Ashley uses the reality ripple in her room and realizes one of her dolls is haunted. She is able to see a little ghost attached to the doll itself. In this still picture, you can see her blonde hair and also kind of see a scary face on the ghost girl as well. A haunting expression permanently locked in a scream. Avery is almost 2 years old. He's happily babbling away in the kitchen when his mother starts to feel a strange presence. This has happened a few times before, so she decides to start recording. Normally, her child is very quiet, but every once in a while, he will become very active and start having a conversation with someone who neither of his parents could see.
Who are you talking to?
Avery's mother finds this behavior very perplexing, so she starts to ask him over and over who he is talking to. Finally, after the third or fourth time, she gets a sinister reply.
Who are you talking to?
Her child looks over his shoulder, almost as if someone is there. When he turns his back to her, a raspy voice says, "Ryan." Listen again with the sound up if you don't hear it. I guess this voice could be coming from Avery, but it sounds like it's coming from someplace much closer, almost right next to the camera. It almost sounds like a slightly different voice than Avery's. Maybe Ryan is a ghostly pal who is looking to make a new friend. What if you heard this sound outside your home? Posted to TikTok by Pablo Riviero 702, this scream sounds like chills made audible, happening outside the door of what appears to be a trailer. The scream is followed by dramatic banging on the door.
De soberbio. Está sucediendo en este momento. Así que no sé qué.
Whatever's outside starts shaking the trailer. It sounds like it's banging on every window, but you cannot see what's outside in the darkness. In a second video, you can hear even more terrifying sounds right outside. It honestly sounds like a demon. It continues to bang on the trailer. Would you answer the door? Come on, fellow adult, you can handle it. A man named Donald Jester uploaded this ghost video from 2003. Nothing is by this table, and then for an instant there appears to be what Donald refers to as a ghost girl. I don't necessarily agree that there is enough detail to tell if this was a ghost or not, let alone if it was a girl, but there is something there. Since this video was taken in December and the front door is open, I guess it could be cold enough to be someone's breath or something else from outside. Is there something in the attic? Redditor Air Icer suspects so. After hearing tapping on the attic wall, they meet it with Sage. And this is what they captured. What was that sound? I tend to agree with Titus that this sounds like a metallic spring bang, but that doesn't necessarily negate a paranormal presence. Perhaps the spirit's just jumping up and down on the bed. Question: what's scarier than a theater at night? Answer: a haunted one. Published to TikTok, this appears to show the phantom caretaker of a haunted theater. Jay says the theater is supposed to be empty, but he keeps hearing a noise, so he's searching the theater to find its source.
Alright guys, so I work at this old theater and been hearing a noise. It's a really beautiful theater, as you can see, if you can see it at all. But I keep hearing a noise in here and there's not supposed to be anybody here, so...
Suddenly, he glimpses something in an upper theater box. He can't quite capture what it is, but after backing up a bit and zooming in, he manages to focus on this. It looks like the ghostly figure of a little boy dressed in a suit. Although the image is blurry, the scary figure is distinctly there, leering out from a theater box. Phantom of the Opera? An intruder? Maybe he's just a ghost fanboy waiting patiently for the play to start. When Joey Salvatore and his friends learn that their entire neighborhood is rumored to be haunted, they go to the local cemetery and try to get something on tape. They don't really find much and eventually come back home, but it looks like something found them and managed to attach itself to a friend named Roger. Now he is standing motionless with his back to them in a dark room, and they are too freaked out to do anything more than secretly record his reflection in a mirror. After a while, he sits down and stops moving completely, so they decide to put Roger in his room and check on him later. Roger is nowhere to be found, at least not at first.
Wait, turn the light on.
What the Roger! I'm done.
They are totally freaking out when Roger comes wandering back into the room completely fine, wondering what had happened. The group feels unsafe at this point and has no choice but to send Roger on his way. Eventually, Roger says that he was just playing a joke on them, but it's unclear if he really means it or if he is just in denial. In 2018, the Our Lady of Guadalupe statue in New Mexico began moving on its own, or at least that's what witnesses say. On 4 separate occasions, the statue has been caught crying tears of sorrowful joy. These tears do not dry up, and in this case were visible the next morning, which would mean that the statue is continuously crying overnight. A close-up shows that the tears come from a realistic angle. She's holding her head slightly so they would be coming from the middle of the eye instead of the corners. A scientific analysis of the tears revealed that their chemical composition is the same as a special olive oil used for ceremonies. What do you make of this situation based on the video and this evidence? Real or fake? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.